Hey y'all, welcome to another video, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all of you and your views and your sharing of the information in the videos, hoping that my testimony can help you the way that testimonies helped me when I was going through the growing and molding process of my life. So this one made me laugh when I landed on it because I was thinking about how we tend to run from our emotions. We tend to stuff our emotions in an effort to not deal with them, and how that just brings us more pain and a greater problem to have to process and work through. And it made me think of this time that I took my kids to Lake Norman. If you haven't been there, it's right outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. Super beautiful lake. We stayed in this really cute little Airbnb and loved the place. And it had kayaks, and I love to go kayaking. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take the little kids kayaking. And so we had two kayaks. One was the kind that you sit in, and the other one was the kind that you sit on. And because my son was only 5 at the time, I said, well, he needs to get on the one that we sit on with me so that I'm easily able to maneuver. And I let my 12-year-old get in the other one because I knew that she would be able to maneuver that one by herself. So we get on the kayaks, we're going along, everything's fine. I took great videos, there's beautiful footage. And then all of a sudden, my daughter starts screaming at the top of her lungs because a beetle has flown into her kayak. And you don't know my daughter, but anyone who does know her will tell you that she is not scared of much in this world, but bugs she is afraid of. So stink bugs, and it's weird because these are things that can't do anything to her. The girl held a snake with no qualms, but is afraid of stink bugs. So when the beetle flew into her kayak, she starts flailing and losing her mind. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be tragic. So she not only is she flailing and losing her mind, and I can't get to her because I'm on the kayak with her little brother, but she jumps out of the kayak. She jumps out of the kayak into the lake. And at this point, we're in the middle of the lake. So we're in a space where there are other boats who are creating some turbulence in the water. So we have waves from that. And mind you, we have on life jackets and your girl can swim. So she was good to go. But when I thought about how her level of fear from that beetle forced her, because she couldn't access her faith or any of her other logical emotions over that fear, she jumped into a space where there was more to be afraid of, because we don't know what's inside of that lake. The opportunity for her to drown, even though she had on a life vest, was like far greater than whatever that beetle would have ever done to her. And so, she's screaming, and I'm like, Lark, calm down. You have to calm down because you're flailing in the water. I can't get to you. And she's like, I don't know what to do. So at this point, the kayak is full of water. So it's flipped over. She's trying to she's trying to float on it, and we had to end up going to this little pier that was in someone else's yard to get the kayak turned over to make sure the beetle wasn't in it. She was refusing to get back in the kayak. In fact, she said, what we're going to do is we're going to carry these kayaks back to our house. We're not getting back in them, and we're not going back in the water. Well, what she didn't realize is that if we would have carried those kayaks, we would have carried them for like a mile on ground. And if she would have just gotten in the kayak, the water, we were going downstream when we went down, we would be, or upstream when we went up, but we would be going downstream to get back. So she wouldn't even really have to paddle. The water would have pushed her back to our destination. And she wanted to do it the hard way because her fear was so big. And don't we do that too? Don't we get in a space where our emotion, our current emotion, is so big to us that we don't know how to process it? And we're afraid to process it because we're afraid of what it might uncover or what it might say about us. So we just stuff it or push it to the side and act like it doesn't exist. Or because we don't know how to process our own emotions, we feel anger and we take it out on everybody else. But what that does is create more work and a larger burden and a greater impact that we have to work through, like pulling those kayaks down the road as opposed to just processing and dealing with the emotion, grabbing that beetle, throwing it out of the kayak, and letting the water carry us downstream back to our destination. We create so much work for ourselves when we're trying to avoid the emotions that we make the process even more hard than it needs to be. And I remember going to my therapist and telling her, this is when I was in my perfectionism going to therapy, which is a whole nother episode in and of itself. But I would go to my therapist hoping that she was going to tell me that I was a good client, right? And it just didn't make any sense because it wasn't helping me process the things that I was dealing with. And I remember telling her, I'm fine. This emotion that I can deal with this. And she said, logically you can, but emotionally you're not. And the reason that she knew is because I was carrying the weight of the emotions in my body. I was experiencing hip pain, I was experiencing headaches, and all of this is tension related. It's tension related because those emotions accumulate in your body and start to cause you physical pain because you don't process and get rid of the emotion. In an effort to help me through that process, she said, write in your journal, figure out what it is that you're actually contending against so that you can process it. Forgive yourself for the decisions that you've made. Forgive the people who have hurt you in your life and let it go. Because if you don't, you're going to carry the weight with you wherever you go. And it makes me think of that Erykah Badu song. Like, you know, when she's talking about the bags in that song, Bag Lady, You're Going to Hurt Your Back, she's not just talking about physical bags. She's talking about the weight of the world that you're carrying on your shoulders because you're not processing and dealing with it. It's okay to say, right now, I am pissed off. And it's okay to be angry. It's not okay to act in a negative way on that emotion, but it's okay to be angry. It's okay to say, right now, I don't have a forgiving heart with this, but I'm going to process and work through it. Even more okay to do that than it is to say, oh, I'm fine, because you're not fine. You're just stuffing it and putting it inside of your body so that you can continue to go on autopilot. But much like my daughter in that kayak, you are foregoing the process of dealing with that emotion that will take much less time, and you're jumping in to a far greater danger that is in that water by allowing those emotions to pile up, because eventually something that's under that state of pressure is going to burst. It's going to. It doesn't have any other option but to explode or implode. So you're either going to go externally and explode on other people, or you're going to go internally and implode on yourself. You can't heal, you can't grow if you're holding on to those old things from the past. So today I would encourage you to take an assessment of those old emotions that you're holding on to. Which ones come up for you? Are you easily irritated? What are those things that trigger you? Use that as the data to tell you, what is this thing attached to? Is it a childhood wound? Is it trauma that I've experienced? Have I forgiven myself for the space that I've put myself in? Have I forgiven the people for the things that they've done to me in those spaces? And once you start to process those emotions, you'll notice that the weight starts to come off. It's why it feels better to vent, because you feel like you're getting out the emotions. But what better way to use venting as an actual process of healing than to vent to yourself, to give yourself the hug that you might have needed when you were a kid, to tell yourself how proud of you are, even if you didn't hear it when you were younger, to tell yourself that you're doing a great job, even if the world isn't seeing that great job. So today I would encourage you to take that inventory, to really process where you are with your emotions, how you're feeling with those things, and to get a handle on what you can do instead of stuffing. If you need some help with that, you can click the link below and download my free PDF to Finding Your Journey to Peace. It's a checklist that helps you walk through that process. You can also reach out to me directly on all social media sites, and I would love to help you through your process to peace, because I can tell you that the first step in me finding the peace that I have right now was to deal with the turmoil that was inside of me. And that turmoil was because of emotions that I wasn't willing to process and even recognize that I was dealing with. I was lying to myself. And if you're in that space, I would love to walk you through it. Remember also that you can go to my website and get my blog that comes out every Wednesday. And again, if you don't already listen to the Peace Podcast, it comes out every Monday on or all podcast platforms. If you are a listener, please give a review, and share with your friends so that they're able to process and deal with the chaos that they're dealing with as well to get them to a space of peace. I appreciate you. I'm so thankful that you're here. If you don't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would love for you to do that so that you can gain all access to the information in my testimony so that it may help you, because I feel like the reason that I'm here is to give you the testimony that I've been through so that you don't have to walk this alone, and so that you don't have to go through the long and arduous process that I did, because you have somebody to help guide you through it. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys again next week.